So 2025 is coming to a close. So hope you enjoy your New Year's Eve so far. This video is something that it comes to my mind for the past few months, only in the quarter and the month that things are rapidly changing. And I know that regulation, the industry, the AI fatigue that is still growing, but it's keeping on a little bit of changing, and a lot of huge drama, a lot of streaming implementation, a lot of content creators getting exposed, and a lot of distrust around the media platforms, and a lot of fatigue that is actually cropping up for many of the appearances that the companies are taking over the internet and trying to manipulate it with a lot of AI degeneracy for that one. And as you know, we live in a time that the critical thinking has been quite out of control, but sometimes that we can't even exercise our own speech. Sometimes I think the speech has been manipulated, and sometimes we don't have any common goals about what is the society of the community that will actually change for the world. But sometimes the governors or any other corporations will actually get in the way, and sometimes that we couldn't do much about it. Sometimes we raise the voices and the concern, but sometimes they will find ways to kind of like change it a little bit up, but actually sneak things inside of the platform that we loved. Now, I'm gonna talk about two things around here. First of all, is the modern society of the internet personalities, whether it's gaming, multi, or any of the posts that you want to watch or hear, like that one. And then second of all, it's the industry that keeps on moving forward towards making regulations, since internet has been going too much of people who come towards mostly spaces to watch some slops or any that is actually more reasonable. And the third of all is the artificial intelligence is now coming around on browsers and the internet, and now it's still on the OBS. Since I noticed that people who is moving over towards the other operation systems that were very critiqued about the fears that the internet will actually have some infiltrators to steal all your information on any computer so far. Now, these are the three things I'm going to talk about. Even though you may not understand what I'm saying, that's okay. As you know, I have a little bit of autism when it comes to speaking of my mind, but even though I don't have any script to write, but this is just something that I have been wanting to say this for quite some time, even though it is hard to understand what I'm saying, but that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes, as many people are thinking I'm a retard, but whatever you want to call it, I do have a little bit of autism when it comes to speaking like this. But you know, you may have to kind of used to what I'm saying here. But anyways, let's just start saying about the first one here. The time that I usually quite want to join the community or make a community of my own, well, it's just a long time dream, but sometimes that reality will even hit you when the internet boom, when it comes towards the global community that will actually kind of like sort it out and just like see how many potential that you are actually getting to, people always kind of chase the numbers, they chase the facts, and chase the narrative, and people trust the truth, and sometimes truth can be very more delusion when it comes to knowing, what source that you gain this from. Or your narrative that your mindset that everyone else thinking you're very trustworthy, but what's behind the scenes is very questionable about what their behavior is all about. Now, it is something that I have been very exercising from my mind, even though I haven't got much to think about stopping them. You see, sometimes you have to go look around the social media personality and platforms that they actually do. Sometimes you have to see these links about whether you post on tweets or you stream on Twitch, or sometimes you post many content around YouTube, which is very helpful for them. But now these days, their personality has been changed and their fatigue has been cloudy. Well, suspicious around many platforms have been like inputting of like artificial models, and also people who is jealousy that because everyone else I think that are very in misinfo or who want to start drama because you don't like this person that you are hanging with. It has always been very normal, and people have been quietly putting out many facts about this. But even though that fact is actually true, but sometimes the facts can't be very made up like that one. So it's pretty much hard for me to just like be very trustworthy about many communities that they build or the content they have been solved for all this. But as you know, we live in a time that factors around many beliefs or many that you are trustworthy what they are actually trying to entertain you for. But sometimes entertaining can be very more balancing when it comes to just like knowing all of what you believe and what's your reactions about what culture shocks you like that. And even though the way that I haven't got much to kind of be very mindset about the ongoings around the platform is with the artificial that doesn't have any transparency towards what helps the smaller communities that they want to build for the platforms. So uh, it's pretty much in the dark times that platforms are changing ways, even though things are getting more influencing difficulty as influencers and more false content creators are getting more attention than us, even though we just like do regular videos that is very enjoyable. And sometimes we like to show anything that is a very much trial and like that. So it probably most of all, we just quietly just do normal way that things are not going to be existed. But yeah, with the platform has been changing a lot, it's going to get harder for us to kind of like be in the mostly a small picture for us. Yeah. Oh, like, what's next? What's next? Mm. So, you know, the government usually want to kind of gatekeep it around their own international ways, and sometimes globalism will actually kind of like make things to obey the laws and obey the internet rulers and collectors that were very mindset about like this is very false fact about this one. But actually, we live in the faction of that the internet can be very toxic around anti-government. And besides, we just want escapism. But since escapism is very difficult for the regulations that many Europeans have been quietly want to restrict rules of hate speech or anything that is a rule over or very right-wing like that one. So censorship may be very bad for many other nations that were very effective for the community and their own livelihoods. And sometimes that people want to know the facts and they want to go against it. You know, we see a lot of Gen Zs writing about censorship that has some corruption problem with the government, and sometimes the government wants to include this out here. Even though people usually find ways how to kind of export this one and try to manipulate the sanctions around here, and also see how the big companies get away with it. So now they're restricting about for the kids. Unfortunately, it is true, but also it wants to control many disability people. That's probably much I would say. Sometimes adult knows about this one and they will actually manipulate everything that will actually convince the truth that it is useless about these type of restrictions. And even though the restrictions are very a little bit tighter, they will actually find ways to do it. Like some partnership around networkers who also owns the internet that will actually do um, bad things about it. So and another thing about restricting video games, which is a bit of a topic that I don't really know how it comes to my mind, even though if you see many games that have been off the stores or not posting around here, and even though it's a very questionable about it, but for the payment system, yeah, I don't usually trust many payment systems that much, even though I've been withdrawing some money from my card. And the thing that maybe restrictions are getting a bit worse for over the time, you know, when there's lot of website that is popping out of it, you had to kind of show your verification for your ID, which is a very dystopia for these times that people want to like restrict the money for the children because children are going into slump mode for knowing the content about what they are thinking about this without critical thinking about this. So that's something that the generation is struggling to kind of like which government will actually be what side of the from for those who is wanting to build society or those who wanted to stay in the internet as your scapegoat. I didn't say It depends on what you are trying to help the society to grow, but as we see, many content creators cannot do anything about it. They will have to just like follow the rules and just follow the guys that the government actually told them to do. No matter how much how loudly that they want to kind of like spread messages towards that it's so wrong that it needs to have to be normalized around here. Well, sometimes normalizing can be very exploitative towards other nations that will actually expose about it, and then they will just get away with it so far. And I think these are very heavy practices about it, and the government will actually try harder to convince the many citizens that it's for their own safety and it's for something that you will actually get in danger about it. So that's much thing I will have to think that the government was trying to do, even though you may not believe, but even though we have a right to speak out and be very concerned about the government of changes. Changes need to be very more restricted, but restricted can have some consequences for many people who is trying to enjoy escapism. All right, last thing I will have to try to think about what to talk about the learning module, also what the company usually call the AI, the system that is actually putting out towards the online space that everyone wants to get into it. And also there are a lot of critiques that doesn't like it to put it over here. It's going to have a massive civil war whether the AI stays or the AI needs to go away. That hurts creators, but sometimes creators need AI assets to work with, like how the opinions or the drawings need to be perfectly aligned with it. So, as you know, I see a lot of PC parts has been taken away by many corporate systems that want to advance the software of AI, since ChatGPT has introduced towards many concepts around like chatting with the source materials around here, and now they onto it. Even Japanese were jumping shift towards like the AI project that reshaping the future. Even they were quite don't know how like advanced the AI module will look like so far. And other thing, there are many fatigues around online has been calling out that they took away their own artworking skills like that way and took away the job, and they are scraping around it from the online and stealing one of them, even though the copyright laws has been not working so much about it. As you know, the laws has been quite slowly outdated for phase, but sometimes there will be changes that is quite going to be very heavily discussing if the copyright laws will actually impact many other creators that will be owned by the government. But yeah, I don't think this is not gonna happen very lastly for many people who is calling out for it. And as you know, we see a lot of screaming around media, imagery, music, and many sources from the online space that have discussions like that one. So it is something that is cannot be stopped, even though people will use local software and operating system and some their own browser they can actually use. But it is gonna be a difficult challenges for the AI's usage for it. For me, I'm leaning towards AI for as a assist that actually assists that actually helps around like discussion, learning some news and lots of rumors that they have been over in there so far. So yeah, you may know that I'm not against AI. I think AI can be very approved. It actually has some useful tools to help assistants, just like me, who has autism with disability to speak less perfectly so far, even though there are a lot of people who is trying to kind of like, what is the point of the use that the AI is taking away everyone's creativity away from here. So it may be fun, but also, even though we live in the internet space, that we have a freedom to quote towards like what software we can actually use it to improve our creative lives. And that's just something to the point that a lot of artists doesn't want to convince, and a lot of creators doesn't want to have anything to do with like oh, they're doing it better than my uh hardworking creation that I made here. So you may have noticed that I've been keeping an eye out with AI news for a while. So it's hard for me to kind of like talk to many things about like what's improved, like the machines, like the software that has improved, or something that you can make simulations that improve around their own lives so far. So is something that he will be heavily discussing for a couple of years, and I'm not really sure how laws will work. And I noticed that there are some shortages that company has been hogging over towards the PC parts that coming over towards the DRAMs. That is very important towards the memory chip that everyone has been kind of using for storage and some saving protocols like that. So we're not sure, but hey, uh, next year it will be very crazy for a lot of ongoing battles. Even though everyone wants to do posts about like it's typically everything from what we usually do to create like that. Sure. Um, I think that'll be it for today. I guess I say it a bit long enough, but I forgot how many minutes I been counting to think of this one. So now, for this channel in the future, um, I'll be doing a bit a small stream. Even though I'm getting a second job very soon, and my dad is quite getting to retire from the Navy in a couple of months away. So I'm in a tight budget. I haven't done much to kind of like support many of the channels that I want to support my favorite ones. But as you know, time has been changing. We see a lot of jobs has been cut. A lot of generation has been not getting accepted towards many harder jobs like that one, and a lot of many companies have been kind of to shut it off. Even the mom and pop shops are quite in the struggles. And even though my store that I'm working um, for a year, it's still a bit hard for me to kind of, except for full time, and it's pretty much in the group side of it. I'm also now gonna be doing a bit of social media for a few months or probably in a week or so. I'm gonna do a little bit of engagement from someone else from the outside and just like living a regular life. But hey, doing a inputting like in a media is pretty much fun, even though I don't usually get much attention. I don't usually get much of criticism, but except the time that I say go touch grass like that one. I mean, have you ever watched my like other videos? Like you didn't see me like doing a lot of hourly posting or just posting videos per month, per week, something like that. Yeah, it's something that it was tough for me to decide what is living around on internet or going out there and just like living in some society that you have to follow the rules. That's the way I want to kind of like move forward to. So yeah, I'm still moving forward. I may have to cut a bit of like, doing a bit of appearance around on put up myself in stream that well. I guess that would be it. So I hope you enjoyed this video here. So yeah, discussion is free to kind of think about this soon, and hopefully you enjoy in 2026. So like, share, and subscribe. Yeah. Even though I don't usually talk about like, share, and subscribe, like everyone wants to say it because it boosts the algorithm. So yeah, don't forget about me. Somehow me. All right. Bye. Hope you have a good new year.